When it comes to relationships, do you feel like you are too dependent on a relationship? Do you feel like you are too dependent on the other person? Could be your boyfriend, your girlfriend, a romantic partner. Do you feel like, yes, you depend on them, but it's too much? And something about it makes you feel like there might be a problem with this. Well, a lot of times, if we think that there is a problem, there often is. And I want to explain a little bit in this video about why people sometimes are too dependent on a relationship. So, I'm Dr. Seth, psychologist, and I'm going to talk about something called object constancy today. What the heck is object constancy? Well, one way to think about it is to think about them as these relationship maps that you have in your mind. So, object constancy is something that usually starts early. And so, early on, and it's always with caregiver relationships, a very young child starts to develop these internal maps of relationships. They have a caregiver, and that caregiver becomes this internalized belief, an internal object, but really we can just think about it as a person, that we develop these templates for a person. And the question is that internalized belief about a person, is that this person will be trusting, will be there for you, will help soothe you, will listen to you, is available to you? Or did that young child develop a relationship map early on because of what happened with the caregiver, where they felt like actually that person, their relationship map is problematic? Sometimes that person isn't there. Sometimes, in some cases, that person actually left for a long time or forever. Sometimes that person wasn't emotionally available. Sometimes that person didn't really care or wasn't listening or wasn't attuned to the young child's feelings or needs. So a young person develops a sense of object constancy, if that person, that caregiver that they had early in life was there for them, was constant for them, was good to them, could be counted on and relied upon. If the young person, the young child, didn't have a caregiver where all of those needs were met and attuned to and noticed, well, that young child doesn't develop a lot of times that same sense of object constancy. They don't develop in the same way that relationship map, that a relationship, a person you depend on, can be trusted to be there, to notice your needs, to be available to your needs, to care about your needs. So later in life, it makes perfect sense if a young child who didn't develop this sense of object constancy later finds themselves in, let's say, romantic relationships where the other person isn't available or walks away or doesn't treat them well. Because this young person may never have had the consistent, constant relationship map that I believe every young person really deserves. All right. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully you understand that concept that a young child's early experiences with caregivers forms these relationship maps. And if we have a good map, we have what's called object constancy. That even if, for example, someone in a given moment may not be there and may leave temporarily, that they may come back. That if someone maybe says something we don't like or hurts us emotionally somewhat in one instance, that they will overall still love us. So that there is not this black and white, all or nothing thinking, that there is a sense of a relationship that is worthy and trustworthy and available to us, that is constant. Okay. Now, becoming too dependent later on in life, in relationships, again, like I said, it makes sense, right? Because a young person that never got what they needed emotionally as a young child or didn't get it consistently enough, Okay. It makes perfect sense if they're going to hold on to this belief that one day they will find that one magic person. And that's often what happens if you are someone who has become too dependent on a romantic relationship, on your romantic partner, your boyfriend or girlfriend. It means that you are oftentimes not even aware of it, but you are holding on to this belief that that one person can make up for all the hurts, can be the person that you never had before. And yet, what I would say to you is that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure that you're placing on that other person to meet so many needs you have. That's a lot of pressure on the relationship to make up for so many old past hurts. Also, that this person, this other person you might be with, had nothing to do with causing. It's a lot of pressure. And I would argue, as a psychologist for over 20 years, I think it's too much pressure. I think it's too much pressure. I think there's something called healthy dependence in a romantic relationship, but depending too much, deep down, when people feel too dependent, they feel anxious. And a lot of times that's their instincts that deep down know that something isn't right, that it might be too much pressure on the other person, too much pressure on the relationship. So the question then is, well, what's the plan? If this is you, if you are someone who has found yourself depending too much on a romantic relationship, okay, and you look back and now sort of understanding this term of object constancy, you realize I didn't really have that sense of object constancy from the time I was young. Makes perfect sense. I understand why I have been seeking out these partners and these relationships have been failing because it is too much pressure. It is causing me to have unrealistic expectations for another person, for this relationship. Okay, good. You see it. Now the question is, well, what's the plan? What is your plan? I hope the plan isn't that, well, maybe one day there will be a boyfriend or girlfriend or romantic partner who comes along, maybe a husband or wife that will be that person to be the one person that's different. So all these other relationships may have failed, but this one will be different. I hope that that is not the plan. Now, it's not that I hope anyone doesn't find a long-term romantic partner who meets so many needs that they have. I do hope that for everyone if that's what they want, but not just one magic person. And I really believe that it's really best for people to be as sort of whole as possible before they actually meet that person. So that when two people meet, each person has some level of independence and self-love and, feels good about themselves without needing to be with another person. So they want to be, but don't need to be. They are actually okay on their own. Do you see that difference? It's really important. So, again, coming back to the plan, what is the plan? Well, I can tell you that developing object constancy, changing your relationship maps, developing a relationship map internally in your mind that someone, a relationship that's romantic, can be trusted, can be good, can be constant, that is possible. But the way to get there, I have found two different ways, and it's with another healing relationship. It's usually finding a healing relationship that helps a person build up this sense of object constancy and develop a new, better relationship map. That is really the key to it. It is really two different types of relationship. One that I have found the most frequently is a therapeutic relationship, finding a therapist who will focus on you in each session. They're not talking about themselves. They're focused on meeting your needs, listening to you, understanding you, making you feel cared about. And you see week after week, wow, I can depend on this person. This person is reliable, is there for me. They hear all of my thoughts and feelings and they still understand me. They don't judge me. That is one of the main ways that a person can develop, can build up a sense of object constancy. That therapeutic relationship, a lot of times later in life, can really heal and repair a lot of the hurts, not all of the hurts, but it can repair some of the hurts and instill a belief that there is a relationship that can be trusted. Okay. So one is a therapeutic relationship. Another is a relationship with another adult that you may have where that person has nurturing qualities. That person really wants to invest in you, cares about you. It could be a friend. It could be someone that works with you in an organization. It could be someone at work, a mentor. But that relationship is one where the other person, they see in you the need to really want to believe in someone, to want a relationship that is good, to want to be mentored, to want to be nurtured. And they like mentoring you or nurturing you or helping to guide you. But what's really important is those relationships, these two relationships that I'm talking about, they're not romantic or sexual. So I believe that if a person doesn't have real object constancy and they want to build that up in their life so that they can have better romantic relationships, they really do best to start by investing in a relationship that is not romantic or sexual, that has healing qualities where the other person will focus on them, listen to them, nurture them, almost act in some ways like someone who has parenting qualities. And they can start to get in this relationship some of the things that they didn't get in the earlier relationships they had when they really needed it most. So that this relationship, this healing relationship later, let's say with a therapist, or this relationship with someone who is a friend, but a really nurturing friend, or someone in an organization that you belong to. This kind of relationship then can help build up your belief in others, your belief that others can be trusted and good and reliable and constant, so that you are setting the stage for a relationship later, a romantic relationship, when you're ready for it. When you're ready for it, so that you can be in that relationship, love that person, depend on that person to some extent, but not be too dependent, not have to be too dependent, because you already have an anchor deep inside you. You have that, you know it, and you live with it, and you feel good because of it. All right. I hope that this has made sense to you today. I also hope that you may find other videos that I have in my whole library of videos on my YouTube channel here, Dr. Seth Psychologist. I hope you find them helpful. I wish you all the best, everyone.